Welcome back to CJ's Keto Kitchen. Thanks for joining us again tonight. Tonight we are going to be making a creamy garlic chicken pizza. And this pizza is going to have a chicken crust. So instead of your traditional fathead, we are going to be using canned chicken breast and only other 2 ingredients to make this crust. So it's very simple. So please come along with us and let's make some pizza. Now the reason that this pizza is good is because it gives an option for a different type of pizza that doesn't include like almond flour. Perhaps if you have a nut allergy or if the amount of fat in fathead pizza does not fit into your daily macros, this gives you a different alternative. Now we had not tried this pizza before, but it is a favorite of my Uncle Jesse. He's made it multiple times. He lives in San Antonio, Texas. So we decided that we would give it a try and make it for you all. So to begin our chicken crust, we need between a 10 ounce and a 12 ounce can of chicken breast. And you can buy this anywhere. This one happened to be from Costco, but you can find it at Walmart. Every grocery store has a brand, and you'll usually find it in with the tuna. And you need to open it up and drain it as best as you can because it does come in liquid. And in order to further dry it out for our crust so that it will combine well with the other 2 ingredients, we are going to dry it out in the oven for about 10 minutes. So I have spread my chicken out on a silicone mat. If you don't have a silicone mat, you can use a piece of parchment paper, anything that can go in the oven and slide off easily. So I haven't tried it with foil, but I would imagine theoretically that would work, but parchment paper works better, or if you have a silicone mat. They're pretty readily available nowadays. So we need to put this in a 350-degree oven for about 10 minutes in order to further dry this out before we make it into a crust. So that's what we're going to do right now. So that's 350 degrees for 10 minutes. Okay, so here's what it looks like after it's been in the oven for about 10 minutes at 350. You can just see that it's kind of a little dried out. Now I'm going to put mine through my food processor really quick to make it even finer. Theoretically, you wouldn't have to do that, but it is something that I'm going to do. Okay, so I have my chicken that I've dried out in the oven, and I rolled it up a little bit so you can see the texture is pretty fine. But like I said, that was just purely optional. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. And to that, we're going to add about an ounce of Parmesan cheese, just the grated kind, the freshly grated kind. And we want about an ounce of it. And then to that, we are also going to add 1 egg, and I'm going to beat mine a little bit. I just have a little whisk here. I'm just going to break it up. Alternately, you can just whisk this egg with a fork if you'd like, but I got this handy dandy little whisk. Add that in. Now we're going to just combine this together to make a crust. Just stir everything together until it gets a little moistened. And this is when I like to add just a little bit of seasoning so it's not just plain. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and some black pepper. And I'm also going to add a little bit of 21 Seasoning Salute from Trader Joe's. You could add oregano, you could add anything that you like your pizza to taste like. But because this is going to be a garlic chicken pizza, I'm just going to stick with these garlicky flavors. Okay, so we have our crust ready to go back onto our cookie sheet. Now the best way to do this is to take a piece of parchment paper and put it over the top. You can go ahead and kind of start spreading things out. But then we're going to take a piece of parchment paper and put it over the top. And you can use a rolling pin if you have one. I'm just using this stainless steel cup to kind of help flatten it out. And this makes generally about an 8 by 10 inch square, or rectangle rather. So, but put your pizza crust in whatever shape you prefer. Just try and get it as thin as you can. Mine's kind of gone off the rails a little bit, so I'm going to scooch it back in and try and make it into as much of a rectangle shape as I can. And you can, of course, give it a slight edge if you want, or a lip, like the edge of a pizza crust. But like I said, you can make this in a round shape if you'd like. You could make a giant triangle, whatever you would like. It is your pizza. So this is a nice variation on fathead. As you know, we've made fathead pizza before on our channel, and it's very tasty. But this is, of course, a lot more low carb, no carb, basically. So it's nice to have choices when you want something different. Okay, so there is our nice chicken rectangle. I don't know why I keep trying to call it a square or a triangle. It is a rectangle. I was never very good at geometry. Okay, so we are going to put this into a 500-degree oven for about 8 to 10 minutes. And you need to watch it because oven temperatures vary and everyone's oven is different. So keep an eye on it. You don't want it to overcook because of course we are going to put our sauce and our toppings on there and then cook it again for another 8 to 10 minutes. So 500 degrees for 8 to 10 minutes, and please keep an eye on it. Okay, while our pizza is cooking, we are going to make our garlic Alfredo sauce. So we need a saucepan, and we are going to start with 3 tablespoons of butter. I'll just plunk that down in your saucepan. You want this on a medium-low heat, and we just want to let the butter melt. Okay, and to that we are going to add a 1/2 cup of heavy cream. So we're just making your traditional Alfredo sauce. And while that warms up, we are going to season it. I'm going to add a little bit more 21 seasoning salute. And I want some black pepper. And of course, these are all to your personal taste. And then I'm also going to add a generous amount of garlic powder. Since this is garlic chicken pizza, we want it to taste like its namesake. Get all those incorporated. And that's going to come to a low simmer. And to that mixture, we are going to add some Parmesan cheese. And I have about 1 ounce left here from our crust. And then I'm also going to add about 1/4 cup of some powdered Parmesan cheese. And whisk that in really well. And that's just going to come to a low simmer. And it will thicken up as it cools to make our sauce for our pizza. You can see it's bubbling around the edges, so it's ready to be turned off. Very fast sauce. And I am going to remove it from the heat so it can finish thickening without scorching. Okay, our crust is ready to come out. And it has lightly browned. And it's nice and thin. So now we are going to top it with our sauce and our toppings. And our Alfredo sauce has nicely thickened up. So I'm going to sprinkle down just a little bit of mozzarella cheese. But I'm going to put our sauce down first. And you can use as much sauce as you'd like. We like ours saucy. And this Alfredo sauce recipe makes about 1.5 cups of sauce. So if you make more than one pizza, you can always double the recipe. And you could, of course, use a marinara sauce if you preferred. But we are making this pizza tonight as close to the lowest amount of carbs as you can possibly get. So we're making it an all-meat pizza, but feel free to add whatever you'd like. If you still wanted to use the Alfredo sauce, you could put spinach on there. You could put sun-dried tomatoes, artichoke hearts, whatever you like. You're only limited by your imagination. So I'm starting with a little layer of mozzarella cheese here before we put our meat toppings on. And I have some cooked chicken thigh here. I'm just gonna sprinkle that over. We have a little bit of ground beef. And it just comes out in one big blob. Of course it does, because it has a mind of its own. And then we are also going to add a little bit of bacon crumbles. You could add strips of bacon, you could add Canadian bacon, anything that you'd like, but we're making ours at 3 meat. So, and then I would like to put a little bit of seasoning on here before we put our final layer of cheese, just to make sure that all of our meat is well seasoned and tasty. Because this is really your opportunity to make sure that it has enough seasoning. It's pretty hard to salt pizza once you've already put that last layer of cheese in. So, but we don't need an awful lot of salt because there is the bacon in there and it's pretty salty. We're gonna add another little bit of mozzarella cheese here. And of course you could use whatever type of cheese that you prefer, but because we're making this a garlic chicken, it's basically all white. Okay, and then we are going to pop this back into our oven that is still set at 500 degrees, and it's only going to take a few minutes. So I would say start checking at about 7 minutes, because you don't want the edges of your crust to get too overdone. They are going to get a little bit more done, and that's why we don't get it too brown from the first baking. So I'm going to check this after 7 minutes. Okay, here's our finished product. We made it nice and cheesy. And we will wait for it to cool for a minute or two, and then we'll cut it into slices and we'll let CJ have a taste. So you're getting ready to sample the garlic chicken, the creamy garlic chicken pizza.
Yes, thank you for telling me what it was.
You eat so many delicious meals.
Well,
Must be so hard to be you.
It's a lot of stuff to remember.
Yes, it is.
So this is the creamy garlic chicken pizza with a chicken crust. Well, it's a chicken crust.
Yeah. So it's pretty much as low carb pizza as you can get.
Right. All right, here we go. You ready for this? You want me to do this in slow motion?
Yes. That was like Godzilla. Gaiaga, Gaiaga!
It's good. So, I'm just going to divulge how things really work. So this is the second one we made tonight. And this is better than the first one.
Is it? Do you think it's the ground beef? Because we didn't put ground beef on the first one.
I don't even taste the ground beef.
Or maybe it's because I seasoned it a little more in between the layers.
It's more flavorful than the first one.
Okay, and I also put cheese down before I did the meat, and then I added cheese again.
Yeah, so maybe that's what it is. I don't know. It's better than the first one you made.
Okay, they generally are.
So this is delicious.
All right, awesome.
And yeah, it's a keeper.
Good.
It's different than fathead.
It's a nice alternative.
It's different than fathead.
It's thinner.
It's way a lot thinner. The crust is way thinner than the fathead crust. So.
But it's also easier. It's fathead, you know, there's a lot more heating and stirring and kneading, and I'm not saying that it's super hard, but it is a little more difficult than this one.
Can I finish?
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us again tonight, you guys. We hope that you enjoy the pizza. And once again, you're only limited by your imagination. You can put any kind of vegetable that you want on here, any kind of meat, different sauces. You could do a creamy pesto sauce or marinara, whatever you would like. But we hope that you will come back and join us again to make more delicious recipes. We upload new content every Wednesday, and that's generally Keto Conversations. And then we try and do recipes such as these on Sundays. So please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so that you will know when we upload new content, because we like having you as part of our ketogenic family. So come on back now, and we will see you next time on CJ's Keto Kitchen. Bye.